Hello and welcome, my beautiful star seeds, mystics, medicine women. I am so excited to be giving you this energy update for March 2025 as we move into April. And I'm being shown that as spirit was connecting with me and I was connecting with, the galactic team that I work with, they began to talk to me about the fact that this isn't just about March and April. I feel like many of these things are going to be coming up for us over the next few months. And I feel like there's going to be this huge completion in terms of really activating our power, our gifts, and our psychic abilities as we start to move into near the end of April. If we really harness in the tools and up from spirit and our ability to connect with the other side to help us and guide us with accessing our power and shifting to new timelines. And so, as I've been channeling my team, they've really helped me with bringing through information for you that you can work with. And if you are in a space right now where maybe you feel like you're in the in between, or you've just moved from another reality where you've maybe let some things go, you've had a huge shift, or you can just simply feel that there's like new energy wanting to come in and you don't yet know how to use it in a tangible way in your life, in your relationships with money, in your business, then this is really going to help you with that. So, for those of you that are new to my world, I am a multi-dimensional channel. I work with starseed energy, spirit, and ascended masters to bring women, and I've started bringing in some male clients as well, which has been really interesting, um, to elevate in their life, their gifts, their ability to channel wealth and money, releasing and healing the body and just bringing them into this place of power. And I love teaching it. I love teaching psychic mediumship. We have many programs around that as well. And it's my honor to be giving an energy update because this feels like a really powerful one. So, March 2025 has been a really interesting month because it feels like we're only just getting started. And Spirit is saying it's almost like a new year now. These past few months, I feel like have been a huge transitional shift for so many people, where there's been a lot of letting go, a lot of like realignment. And now we're in this place of like, right, okay, like gears are starting to turn and let's shift. Let's actually shift. But I know that there are many people who are in a place right now where they feel like they're stuck in this void where it's like, I know I'm going somewhere. I know that there is power wanting to come through in my voice, in my impact, in my magnetism, in my abilities to channel, but I don't quite feel like I'm there yet. And this is a really powerful space to be in. So there's a huge energetic shift for March 2025 and into April, and it feels like it's already been moving through the first part of this year, and we're really in the depths of it now. So we know that the Schumann resonance chart is showing that there are huge flares, huge solar flares, which is symbolizing the heightened consciousness for humanity. The grids of Gaia are activating because there's so many human beings who are now waking up and questioning and peeling back the layers and not settling and heightening their consciousness and their frequency. And we know that Gaia loves that. She responds to that. And it's this like to and fro, we activate Gaia and Gaia activates us. So we're working in beautiful union. But what comes with that is there's a lot of shedding that has to take place. Now, for those of you that know me, as a healer, as a psychic, as a channel, I'm not the type of healer that ever advocates for this like narrative that you have to be in this constant loop of suffering and healing in order to ascend, in order to activate. I know that people can really trauma loop in that space of like, in order for me to receive, I have to earn it. I have to have like this hero story. And that's not it, not at all. But what I do know and what spirit always remind me of is you don't have to be having this breakdown all the time. to be experiencing a breakthrough. But right now, there's a lot of shifting, Tiffany. Like there's huge expansion going on within the world, and it's showing up in many areas of people's lives. And because of these huge solar flares and the symbolism of heightened consciousness, there are certain things that I wanted to talk to you about that my guides have brought through to help you. And I want you to listen to anything that really resonates because I feel like a lot of it will. So, first of all, because the frequency on the earth is shifting at such a rapid scale and we're having these huge solar flares, there's a lot coming up for people. Now, when we're moving timelines, for anybody that's new to the word timeline or quantum shifting, in the most simplest way that I can put it, it is us moving from one reality to another. It is this knowingness that we're no longer in resonance, whether it be with a relationship, whether it be with work, whether it be with how we used to speak, how we used to be, how we used to behave, how we used to channel, how we used to move, how we used to, communicate, whatever. There's this knowingness, I need to let this person go, or I need to let this situation go, and I need to shift. I'm being called to shift, and I don't know why. I can't explain it, but this feels out of alignment. And what happens is when we really start to move in the direction of where our soul and our higher self, because as we know, we have our soul, but then there are fragments of our soul. And we also have the higher self who is in the spirit realm and is connecting with us. And she's always guiding us. And she's not guiding us in resonance with where we are right now. She's guiding us with where we're going. The timeline where the impact is, the timeline where you've opened completely to your gifts, you've healed, the money's in. She's calling you from a higher timeline. And she knows that there are lots of things that need to be let go of at times in order to go there, because there are things that are playing out in people's fields that are in lower vibration and are holding you back, right? And so what happens is when we go into this place of timeline shifting, we have to be really courageous because it can feel like a lot on the system. And one of the things that Spirit, my team, have been talking to me about is the nervous system for a second. Now, I feel like sometimes within the spiritual community, there's this narrative that the nervous system is fragile, the nervous system is weak, right? And there are many people that oscillate in time between timelines because they fear if I let go of this situation and I really listen to my soul and my intuition, I don't only fear the pain and anticipate the discomfort of it, I really fear the unknown. But what I want you to understand and what Spirit have asked me to speak to you about today is the fact that the nervous system is always a few timelines behind. Now, it can either be one timeline behind or on the timeline that you are on, or it can be several timelines behind. And this depends on the bigness and the greatness of the shift that's taking place. So, for an example, if you are being called to, let's say, bring light language into your business for the first time ever, that would feel like quite a big shift, and the nervous system might try and hold you back a little bit, but it's not huge. You can kind of move through the discomfort, unless the prosecution wound is huge. It's usually not a massive, massive thing. Like we can kind of hold it. It's really uncomfortable. What will people think? But I'm going to move through this. So usually the nervous system with things like that, small things, small changes, it's one or two timelines behind, right? But when we're having huge shift, whether it's movement of home and movement of land, doing something that we're afraid of that's really big, bringing a relationship into completion, anything that's really huge, quitting a job and starting your business and your sole purpose, your nervous system is usually 4 or 5 timelines behind, even up to 7 timelines behind. And the nervous system is here to keep you safe. I know many of you know this, but there is a way to work with the nervous system that brings you into a place where you can keep moving to where your soul is guiding you, where the impact, where the love and the union, the sacredness of relationships, where the heightening of the business and your impact, where you're in receptivity of wealth and you're living a prosperous life, there are ways in which we can work with the nervous system to move in the direction of our soul. And the biggest key piece that Spirit want me to talk to you about is that it's ridding the idea that your nervous system is fragile. This narrative within the spiritual community that we have to loop within fear and rid it before we can actually move. What they want me to remind you of is that your nervous system is doing its job. It is trying to keep you safe. And even if your circumstances that you are letting go of or that you're currently in, even if they felt unsafe or out of alignment or brought up all of the things, right? But ultimately, for whatever reason, it felt familiar. It felt familiar. And so what happens is it wants to keep you in that dynamic because it's familiar, because it's known. And many people struggle to quantum leap in their life where all of a sudden, they hit huge impact or the book becomes bestseller. And it's like 1 minute there was no book, and the next minute I'm stood on stage and there's money in my account and my impact is huge. Like, what is going on? Or I left this relationship and then I met the love of my life and my life has blown up. That's a quantum leap. It makes no sense. It collapses time frames, it collapses space. It's not rational, right? In order to move to a new timeline, we have to give grace for our nervous system, but we've got to stop oscillating in this place that we have to trauma loop and keep trying to fix something in order to move forwards. Being asked to remind you of your power as a soul, as an energy worker, a light worker who is highly intuitive, and you know where your heart is taking you, you know where your soul is taking you, and to not allow your nervous system to take direction and dictate where it is that you are going. Because if you spiritually collapse in the void, which is I'm in the in between space, I'm leaving the timeline I was on, it's complete, and I'm now moving to this new timeline. I'm in the in between. I'm not where I was, and I'm not quite where I know I'm going, right? That is when the nervous system is going to try and convince you to go backwards and revert because that was familiar. And even though it may not have felt like it, it felt safe to the nervous system. And the nervous system is doing its job. But your nervous system is not safe. And your job and your work as a light worker, as a star seed, as a soul, as a spirit led woman is to listen to your soul and not allow your nervous system to dictate where you are going. And to understand that there will be a moment when your nervous system, because you're teaching it, you're literally saying, hey, I get why you feel this way. You're no longer internalizing it as an identity. You're an observer to it and you're allowing it to feel what it needs to feel. But you're also saying, that is not where we're going. We're going this way. Like we're going this way to where my soul is taking me. And whilst we don't have all of the answers yet, I don't need all of the answers because all I need to do is wake up every single day and take one aligned move, one step in front of the other. And eventually the nervous system will begin to understand that it's okay in discomfort and it's okay in fear and it's okay in uncertainty. Many people collapse in timelines and don't ever quite shift their reality, always kind of stay in a default of, I always have just enough money. My relationships are always the same. This comes up, or, I know that I'm psychic. I know that I can access spirit starseed, which we all can. Yeah. And there's so many people that are waking up to their gifts now. But I don't ever quite get there. I'm never in a overflow of money and wealth. I'm never in an overflow of magnetism impact on the earth. I never feel like I'm quite like moving in a heightened direction. I always feel like I'm plateauing, or I'll hit a heightened state and then I kind of revert back. That's because we're not stabilizing to the timeline we're going to. We're moving towards it and then we're reverting back because we're listening to the nervous system. So, breath work is really important through this time, and using your voice as a vehicle for multidimensional intelligence to move through your body and communicate with your cells and your nervous system that it is safe and that we're moving in the direction of source, of spirit, of star seed, of our soul, and to keep moving in the discomfort. People do this like with panic attacks, for instance. They want to rid the panic attack, they want to rid the anxiety, and they'll do the things, they'll go to therapy and which is fine. There's a time and place for that. But there's a point where they compound it so much because they're just wanting to rid the awful sensation, the discomfort, the expansion, that they kind of stay regurgitating the narratives around it. But yet, if you move in the direction of where the panic attack takes place, whether it's, getting on a flight, or whether it's on, when you're driving, or, if you can go to those places and just stay there even 1%, what you're doing every single time is you're exposing your nervous system to the version of you that is saying this is safe. And that is a huge part of healing and timeline shifting. And they wanted me to really bring this in over the next few months because there are many light workers, galactic beings, starseed channelers, multi-dimensional channels that are waking up and have huge parts to play in the Earth's ascension. And they're saying it's imperative that you start being courageous enough to move. You've got to start moving. You've got to stop regurgitating the past and honor the body, honor her release, allow it to be there, but don't you dare stay put. Because the thing about starseed energy is it's very fast. It wants to awaken the world and it will channel through us and it wants us to move now because it doesn't care. It knows that we're always ascending and we're always going to be okay. And we've got to allow the body to calibrate to that. But at no point are we to allow the nervous system to dictate to us. And obviously, as you know, I work with clients around many of these subjects, not just awakening your gifts and allowing you and teaching you how to open to psychic work, psychic mediumship readings. I offer all of those things. But I work with many clients who are in this space of shifting timelines and know there's something huge about to come in and come into my world, and they shift. They shift the anxiety, they shift the discomfort, and they shift massively. And it is so doable. So having people in your world and listening to things that remind you in your body that you are safe to move in the direction of your soul. So that's the first big conversation to have for March of 2025 and moving into April. And it feels like it's going to be significant for the next 4 to 6 weeks because it's preparation for our impact and the way in which galactic, starseed, and spirit are wanting to work with us. You're not here to live a mediocre life. You are here to create huge impact for this earth, and it's preparing you. Like, can you hold this? Are you committed and devoted to this? And can you just open 1% a day? Can you move in the direction of discomfort 1% a day? And what do you choose? Are you going to revert back or are you going to come with the soul? Right. So, another piece that I wanted to bring up in union with this is because obviously of the soul flares and the grids of Gaia activating, and so many of us opening to starseed energy and being used by, many different energies across the veil. What's happening is we hold when we're gifted the light, the persecution wound for the light worker. Now, this is a huge one for, oh my gosh, many women. I mean, men as well. But may I've worked with so many clients who have this. Like the light worker persecution wound is an imprint within our DNA and nervous system. And when I was working with Palladian energy not long ago and my spirit team, and they were showing me how it actually presents in the body because they're like, even though everybody on this earth has the ability to connect to us and has the ability to open to our consciousness, there are certain people on this planet who can't not. Some will choose not to, but there are some who are wired differently on purpose because your commitment was you would open and you will do it. And so they show me it's almost like the soul overlay. And so we have the nervous system, but then I'm shown an overlay over the nervous system, which is like a cosmic system. And then we have our DNA as well. And when they show me, it's almost like when they're showing me inside of the body, they're showing me like the most beautiful, pearlescent, crystalline, bright blue and purple colors that are almost like frequency waves and electricity strikes. It's like a zzz in the body. And I can see it overlaying the nervous system and the DNA. And what they said is you're coded differently. You're highly sensitive, and that is a superpower because it's metaphysical intelligence moving through your body. Your sensitivity is a huge superpower, regardless of what anyone might tell you. Your depth is your Wi Fi signal, right? It's your ability to feel beyond words, but also channel beyond words as well. And so the light worker persecution wound is coming in really strong through this time because obviously it's wanting to purge and purify to get you into a place where you start owning your gifts. And not just that, you expand your body of work. There are many people in this place and time who know that their body of work is meant to expand in the way in which they hold their clients. They know that there are different healing modalities and abilities to channel that they could bring into their client work and their programs and their ministry, I call it, but your content, if you like, but who are in a place of preparation for that. And it's almost like because of the solar flares and just the way humanity is shifting in consciousness, our bodies are lighting up. And when that happens, anything that's underneath that's telling you, don't say those things. You can't open, you can't channel, you can't heal people. You'll never make that money. You'll never find the love of your life. You'll never find your soulmate. All these stories, all of that is coming up to be purified. It's no longer comfortable in the field. Okay. And so the light worker persecution wound is coming in really strong and it's a strength. It's not here to keep you small. We've got to get rid of the victim mentality, right? Like it's so hard and it's not that. It's preparing you because I can see many light workers, starseed, galactic, spirit channelers who are going to do huge things for 2025. Massive things. There are things that you are destined to create right now that are literally in the book. And all that is needed is your commitment and devotion to moving in union with it, regardless of the discomfort. And so the persecution wound, I mean, we know about the witch wound and the witch trials. And if you're new to that, the witch trials took place centuries ago, but our DNA holds memory of 7 generations back. So if you think about that, that's like 700 years worth of memory coded in your body. And so when you think about going out into the world and speaking light language for the first time, or getting on a live stream and using your voice, or using your hands, or learning that healing modality, or psychically opening, many people that work with me, where they come into the mediumship certification, I teach light language, mediumship, psychic activation. You become a facilitator within our healing modalities and channeling spirit and starseed. This is huge for so many women because they're going to a place of, well, what will people think? Like, I've got to go out there and actually own that this is who I am and this is what I do. And that's huge. And the reason why is because the coding within the body is when you do this, you'll be prosecuted. When you do this, you'll be taken to the stake, you'll be burnt, you'll be cast out, right? You'll be judged. And so there's this cellular resistance that comes up for many women. And it can even come up as, what if I, channel black magic? What if I do wrong or bad with my gifts? That's also the witch trials and the witch wound because through those times, they were told that they were, you know, bringing in evil spirits and not of God, and that's why they were then killed. So it can bring so much up, but it's because also we are wired differently. Our nervous system is wired differently, and the persecution wound can come up in terms of blocks around abundance, accessing our gifts, our bliss, our joy, our quirkiness, our light language abilities, our healing abilities, and just who we are within this world. And this is coming up to prepare you. It's coming up so it can be purged. So you can go into a place of, no, this is who I am. And this is, whilst I have a drum in my chest, I'm going to be exactly who I was meant to be for this earth. And I'm going to walk it and I'm going to talk it. So through this time, there are healing modalities around this. And I do this with my clients as well. But One of the ways in which we can also alchemize the witch wound is by moving simply in the direction that we're terrified of. Part of the alchemy is yes, doing the activations behind the scenes. I have many DNA activations that I may release on my YouTube channel as we're starting to, really build our community here. But at the same time, it is daring to move in the direction of where your ancestors left off, and to really commit to this coding within your body to replenish and know that your physical movement is part of the power, not this regurgitation behind the scenes where you feel like you've got to rid it before you're able to move. Now, light language is huge for rewiring our cells. So if you speak light language, which I can see coming in for so many people right now, then using that over your body is your soul and your, starseed essence coming in to rewire as well. So light language is coming in really strong for that, as well as the physical movement towards what it is that you want to learn and open and activate to deeper embody your impact, your body of work with your clients, the way in which you can see beyond your clients' limitations, to become, the quantum lens for their expansion and their timeline shifting. There's something very powerful about being able to hold a client or within a program or channel a program where you're not limited by your own human consciousness, where you can hold a client and see exactly the timeline they're meant to be on and what's holding them back and give them that psychic guidance. And this is coming in very, very strong with the persecution wound. It's coming up to purify so you can move in direction. And it can manifest at times as confusion, overwhelm, anxiety, numbness, feeling like at our bandwidth, knowing that we're meant to do more. So there's this frustration that comes in. We're meant to have more, bring more impact in. We know there's a power that's kind of behind us, but we don't know how to name it. We don't know how to use it tangibly. So it can bring frustration up. So it's a time for learning, a time for introspect, definitely a time for deepening and opening to our gifts and becoming curious, but actually moving, actually learning and shifting with the consciousness and not just, you know, behind the scenes thinking about it. So physical movement is very important right now around learning and opening and using your gifts. So light workers and star seeds have a completely different coding within the nervous system. And whilst the nervous system is not, weak, our nervous system is much more sensitive but robust, not fragile. It is able to adapt, but it can feel more sensitive as well. So it's really important through this time that you honor the gifts that are coming through. And also, another piece is light language. Light language is coming in really strong at the moment in different forms. Now, this is because, and I was talking about this inside of the mediumship certification the other week, and I was talking about how we're moving beyond traditional mediumship. Traditional mediumship is where we hire a psychic medium and we can tap into your loved ones and give you comfort messages and evidence to give you closure. And that's really powerful, and that's obviously something that I do and can do with clients. But the way in which we're shifting now is for a psychic medium when we're simply connecting to the side to an ancestor that's passed on or a loved one, we're working with the upper fourth dimension. That's where spirit go. They go to the astral realm, and that's the upper fourth dimension. So if you think about it, we're in the third dimension. Earth is the third. And then we have the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth dimension. As we go higher, we go into the galactics, the starseed, and all of the other beautiful energies. Now, psychic mediumship is shifting where, because the frequency on the earth is shifting, we're unlocking the persecution wound, we're moving in the direction, we're learning about our gifts, we're learning to move in discomfort. This is all part of moving timelines, moving our vibration, healing. Well, what happens is we're now able to tap into way beyond the fourth dimension. This is why in the mediumship certification, I don't just teach traditional mediumship. I teach you that, but I'm also teaching you how to timeline shift for a client. I'm teaching you how to do psychic surgery. I'm teaching you how to work with the cosmic system, light language, starseed. It's so powerful and so multidimensional inside of there. And the reason why is because so many people are now accessing higher consciousness. And so they're going way beyond just connecting with someone's loved one to give them a comfort reading. Then now, like I don't do mediumship, Tiff, but light language has come in. So I've almost skipped the fourth dimension and I'm like shifting to higher dimensions. Like, what's going on? Light language is really coming in strong for so many people. And what my galactic team are saying and wanting to advise you of is they want you to use this, whether you're out driving, whether you're out gardening, whether you're cleaning the house, whether you're going for a walk, whether it is that you are, working or channeling something. They want you to start using light language more to bring peace into the body, to rewire the body. So if, for instance, you're feeling anxious and you're doing something huge, bringing that light language in with your fingers. So I do a lot of clicking. Many of you will have noticed that is clicking the quantum field around a client, but also using that light language. And I can feel it coming in now to really bring protection, activation, power, heightened state of vibration into the body. So protection's brilliant for, anxiety. And it's the knowingness that it's your intention behind it. It is what you say and how you say it and why you're using it that's really important. And that will move you in the direction of activating your throat and also your ability to heal and to bring new consciousness in. So even if you don't understand it right now, and you can come into my world deeper around this with the mediumship certification, and we are going to be opening something really amazing soon where we're going to be going into all of these different teachings. But using your light language and just allowing it to come through will tone your cells and your DNA. It will bring protection and provide activation, but it will also clear any blockages around your throat. So if you have a hard time like communicating with a loved one or speaking your truth or getting on a live stream or, writing channeled messages, your throat is so powerful and light language is coming in really strong for that as well. It's coming in through the hands as well. So using your hands, if you feel like your hands are wanting to move in meditation or, when you're with a client, if you're a healer, allow your hands to come in because there's a lot of energy coming through the hands and the palms. I can see when my spirit team show me, I can see in my mind's eye, it's beautiful. And I can just see these beings and they're like pearlescent purple, which is you and I, and their third eye is completely switched on. And there's like this lotus on the crown, and there's like this butterfly, but it's so cosmic. And there's just this energy coming down, piercing the third eye, down the throat. And then it's like streaming through our shoulders and our hands. And there's like lotuses and butterflies and like cosmic frequency coming through the fingers, and they're like use that energy. So if you can feel energy coming through the hands, use it much more because there's a lot of power around movement and different ways that light language is coming in, symbolisms as well. So numbers is coming in really strong, symbolism around that too. So if you draw light language, let that come through, automatic writing or just drawing whilst you're speaking light language, you may find that symbols begin to come in. And if you're in meditation, be aware of any symbolisms that come through the third eye through that time. So there's a lot going on right now. We also have Venus in retrograde, and I know many astrologers are talking about the fact that, hey, it's going to bring up a lot of relationships up. And yes, 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 it's going to bring relationships into purification, or a lot of people are leaving relationships now because it's no longer in alignment, and that is okay. As many of you know, I'm moving through my own shift as well. And we've got to be okay with it. We've got to be at peace with it and understand that we're shifting to something else, and we have to honor our sovereignty in our soul. But also around Venus being in retrograde, it is the feminine planet and it's bringing in introspection and really looking at where you're not honoring your femininity, your voice, your rawness, your womb, your emotions, your truth, your creativity, your desire for pleasure and fun. So anything that has been suppressed through this time, you may also find that there's a lot of things coming up around the body and truth your depth, your yearning to create on a deeper level. And my advice is to allow yourself to see the parts that you've swallowed down and start playing with those parts more. We know that the feminine loves to create. She's sacral, she's open. So anything that really, brings you into a place of pleasure is going to really help with opening your channel. So making much more time for pleasure through this time as we transition through a huge shift. I always say, can you find pleasure in pain? That's the most powerful thing we can do. Can you allow it to penetrate you to God, to source, to starseed, to galactic, as the feminine, we're here to open. So huge things for March and into April. And I would love if you have anything that I've said that really hits home for you, you can place it below in the comment section. And I may come in and give a little bit of channeled advice for anybody that does. And if you have anything that you would like to add to this that maybe you are experiencing right now, whether it be starseed energy, light language energy coming in strong, psychic activation, things that are moving in your life, then please do share below as well. It's an honor to hold you through this time, as Spirit always say, as my galactic team always say. It is a true honor, and many of us are vessels to bring humanity to a heightened state. And it's so important that we allow ourselves to be the beacon of light for, our people to gravitate to be the torch bearer and to be brave and courageous. So with that, I love you and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.